Welcome to ES Ascension News. Our theme, Electromagnetic Signals. Dear Ascending Family, this month's podcast is to better understand the important role of electromagnetic signals within the consciousness of the human body, and to raise awareness of the multiple sources of exposures we may have to these signals that are transmitting from the environment and beyond. Electromagnetic signals are directly responsible for the electromagnetic wave representation that we access. This can be through any kind of data transmission and its energetic frequency signature. Data transmission is communication of energetic information by the transmission or propagation of ranges of frequencies that form unique electromagnetic signals. When we receive spiritual initiations, we are receiving data transmissions into our light body. These frequency downloads, which allow us to embody higher frequencies, are made through electromagnetic signals. During the ascension cycle, humanity is being accelerated into greater ranges of amplified electromagnetic frequency exposure. These are either natural signals that support biological ascension or artificial signals that block the physical body with pain, thereby suppressing or fragmenting the light body. Thus, we can help to support our body and consciousness to regain balance when we have a clearer comprehension of how these electromagnetic signals work in the human body. The human body is made up of atoms, ions, and molecules. Ions are atoms with extra electrons or missing electrons. When an atom is missing an electron or two, it has a positive charge. When an atom has an extra electron or two, it has a negative charge. The key players in creating the electrical energy within our body are structures called ions. Ions may exist in solid, liquid, or gaseous environments, although those in liquid are more common. Most ionic compounds fall in the category of chemicals called salts. Ions existing in a liquid state are electrolytes. An electrolyte is any compound that, in solution, conducts electricity and is decomposed or electrolyzed by the electricity. Ions can be created by either chemical or physical means through the process of ionization. The human body, when subjected to strong electromagnetic signals or activated kundalini, is capable of biological ionization that can generate plasma. In the ascending human body, ionization produces higher frequency plasma light for continuing to build our liquid plasma spiritual body. Thus, our cells are similar to miniature batteries and electrical generators. They conduct electricity, create electromagnetic signals, and are powered by a low level of electrical voltage. The nervous system uses electrical energy, termed nerve impulses, to transmit messages from one cell in the body to another cell in the body. Imbalances of any of these ions or inhibition of ion transport across the cell membrane can lead to dysfunction in the conduction of electrical messages. This dysfunction quickly leads to a general body disturbance and loss of energetic stability in the biospiritual field. Additionally, this dysfunction skews internal messaging between the cells, blocks conduction of electrical messages in the nervous system, and can alter or change electromagnetic signals in the body. The human nervous system produces a resonant, alternating magnetic field, which is capable of extracting ions from the atmosphere when there is a vibrational match to the same ionic frequency. As an ascending human, this is how we catch the high-frequency downloads. These are on the high-energy end of the electromagnetic spectrum, moving at high speeds through electromagnetic waves. In general, the higher the frequency of a signal, the more information carrying capacity it has. Our nervous system acts as the frequency conduit, which allows the intelligent energy to be transmitted to our body through ion channels, which produce an electromagnetic signal. The electromagnetic signal received is then transmitted from our neurological system to communicate directly with our personal DNA signal. DNA signals. DNA sequences emit low-frequency electromagnetic waves, which make up DNA signals that organize the nucleotides or arrange the pattern of raw material of the DNA. DNA signals potentially can communicate with each other and genetically mutate by receiving data transmissions that evolve into new patterns of DNA. Human red blood cells contain DNA-emitting signals. This is why it's so important to not inject other DNA substances directly into our bloodstream. When another species' DNA is injected into the bloodstream, this interferes with the human DNA's ability to recognize other human DNA signals and blocks DNA communication with all members of the same species. All living organisms interact and interconnect with electromagnetic waves, and all of Earth's inhabitants have original Earth-based DNA, which is resonant to the low-frequency waves emitted by the Schumann resonances into the Earth's atmosphere. The Schumann resonances are a set of spectrum peaks in the extremely low-frequency portion of the Earth's electromagnetic field. For this reason, most people will be extremely open to electromagnetic signaling that is stimulated by extremely low frequencies, such as 7.83 Hertz, the fundamental range of these waves on the Earth. This range of low frequency is commonly produced by the human brain when relaxed in alpha or theta states. Extremely low frequencies or radio waves that are artificially or naturally generated can phase with these same frequencies in the human body, having an array of impacts on human electromagnetic signals. For an Earthling to leave the planetary DNA signal for prolonged periods of time, such as astronauts or secret space operatives, their career lifespan is cut short because the physical body cannot endure long exposures in space or on other planets without damaging cellular integrity. Interrupting or interfering with the DNA signal for long periods accelerates diseases, miasma, and distortions in the Earth-human biology and its auric energy field. This is why there is the necessity of forced DNA activation via technology, cloning, or Xeroxing biological copies repeatedly for secret space operatives, as well as the continual need to repair the physical and cellular damage they incur. This is the major flaw in the agenda for Earth humans to live on Mars. Earth human DNA in its current undeveloped and dormant state cannot sustain balanced health, coherent mental functioning, and biological spiritual evolution on other planetary bodies. The negative alien agenda are aware of this flaw and exploit the current agenda to live on Mars as another enslavement tool for the human reincarnation trap. The Mars colony has already been in place for many years, with the human recruits living there as essentially slave workers. An entity who is not born on the planetary body does not have the same planetary DNA template, nor a compatible human body DNA pattern as a part of its own DNA signal. That extraterrestrial will have different electromagnetic signaling that will not be in natural phase or harmony with the planet's electromagnetic signals. As such, we can understand why the planet has been plagued by extraterrestrial species writing their DNA code into the planetary body in order to produce a specific range of artificial electromagnetic signals in the human race. From their perspective, blocking natural electromagnetic signals that activate human DNA would be beneficial for their hybridization and takeover agenda. Injecting humans with other DNA material seen in certain vaccinations, medications, and other chemicals could effectively block same species communications and biological ascension that function inherently in our human DNA signal. By blocking natural DNA signaling between same species, namely Earthlings, it would be harder for humans to share exchanges of frequency and intelligent energy communication. This is also effective for maintaining collective consciousness, memory wiping, and breaking down the human species' light language by scrambling our DNA signals. Without our personal DNA signal being in perfect alignment to the harmonic phasing of the Earth body, it prevents most Earthlings from accessing accurate historical accounts or species memory that is recorded in the instruction sets of the Earth. It also means that person is unable to recognize another member of their same species, as it confuses the DNA signals and communications made between humans. This is a major issue with humans that have been involved with alien hybridization breeding programs and metatronic reversals that now require specific bioregenesis and spiritual rehabilitation of their DNA signal. This is one reason the human race does not recognize the return of the Christ consciousness DNA signal and does not acknowledge or know of the crystal DNA pattern existing in the Earth body. DNA signaling needs water. The medium of DNA transmission and its communication is made through exposing DNA structures to water. Electromagnetic transmission of DNA's genetic information is carried through water, which imprints the base template. Water has memory. Water memory is the ability of water to retain memory of substances previously dissolved in it, as well as hold the memory of DNA imprints and higher consciousness effects. Thus, the high water and electrolytic content within the human body acts as a highly conductive memory body for all electrical currents, and especially extremely low frequencies. This makes the human body perfectly capable of DNA transmission through electromagnetic signaling, which allows the consciousness and body to communicate with many different frequency signals. Information in a DNA strand is transmitted via water as its carrier by electromagnetic emissions that form oscillating DNA signals. DNA sequences can then be captured through their signal, as a specific electromagnetic signal records portions or fragments of the entire DNA pattern, just like taking a snapshot to memorialize it in time. The electromagnetic signal of the DNA pattern acts as the key, which opens encryption to the larger DNA pattern, including unlocking dormant DNA, which also allows for replication of that DNA. Each piece of DNA recombines within the same cell to other pieces for reconstructing the whole DNA sequence. The DNA replication process technology is known and has been used to experiment with cloning, soul transfer, splicing human DNA with animals, and even in creating super soldiers. Replicating DNA through artificial intelligence technology on future Earth and on other planets has met with extremely destructive impacts. What current science does not know is that without the unique soul DNA signal that is key-coded into communicating with the planetary DNA, the artificial bodies created through replicated human DNA will continually fail. This is observed with biological drones or extraterrestrial biological entities created to be slave workers. The failure reveals itself through rapid cellular death, diseases, dysfunctions, and how easily those bodies are inhabited by lower spirits or extra-dimensional entities. Life is only created in the presence of life. Life does not arise from non-living material, and life force cannot be simulated by artificial intelligence to animate anything. Cell cloning results in inferior biology that cannot evolve, ascend, or gain consciousness energy. It is an entropic structure doomed to parasitism. Phase differences. All living things emit light through the oscillating electromagnetic waves sourcing from their DNA signal in a variety of ranges of frequencies. The DNA signal is effectively the communication agent for the body and can communicate to other bodies through its DNA signal. The personal DNA signal controls the biological and metabolic rhythms, as well as providing the instruction set for how the biological energy field, or aura, is organized for every living organism. When our DNA signal is in phase to synchronize with another DNA signal, or a similarly resonant frequency transmission, whether the transmission is natural or artificial, it can communicate in some way with that signal. The result of electromagnetic communication that is made between multiple DNAs signaling is expressed as phase differences. Phase differences can be measured by and are called in-phase waves or out-of-phase waves. Phase differences are the differences measured in degrees of time between two waves having the same frequency that are referenced to the same point in time. An example would be to imagine two human beings, each with personal DNA signals, standing right next to each other, receiving the exact same frequency data communication at the same time, then measuring the combined electromagnetic signals to determine the phasing of the waves communicating between their consciousness bodies. The phase differences between two local human bodies can be measured and will also be reflected in the emotional or feeling experience of the two people. This phenomena of being out of phase with certain people's biological energy field can give each person immediate sensations, such as feelings of not being resonant and not being comfortable with that person. We can apply the same principle of wave phase differences seen between groups of human beings when they are being exposed to a range of environmental frequencies. When two or more people, or oscillators, have the same frequency and there is no phase difference, they are in phase. When two or more people, or oscillators, have similar frequency and have different phases of waves, they are out of phase with each other. If the phase difference is substantial to a point of 180 degrees, then the people or oscillators are called anti-phase. If two interacting waves meet at a point where they are in anti-phase, then destructive wave interference will occur. Anti-phase waves can be directed through any kind of oscillator medium, such as people who have a frequency match to that electromagnetic signal. Many energetically sensitive people experience forms of psychic aggression, such as people used as dark portals to direct negative energy into the local environment by those that are in anti-phase to their state of frequency or consciousness. It is also possible that anti-phase technology is directed towards targeted people, so this occurs both at consciousness levels and through other types of artificial technologies. These directed weapon technologies are called phase disruptors. When any of these phases occur, the phase difference is what determines whether they will strengthen and reinforce each other, cancel out each other, or through interference, they can weaken and destroy each other. Properties of electromagnetic wave phasing can be applied to better understand the function of light emissions and the communication that sources directly from the DNA signal. When a DNA signal is being introduced artificially to a range of extremely low frequency, it can easily create an out-of-phase wave effect, which is effectively jamming the DNA signal or canceling its signal out. This technology is jamming communications made between many DNA signals or the scrambling of the DNA cellular alphabet. This is achieved via introduction to a set of extremely low frequency signals that are designed to stop DNA communication from occurring in the first place. Extremely low frequency. The physical human body emits electromagnetic waves, and the signals used to control most brain and bodily functions exist in the extremely low frequency scale. Extremely low frequency is the designation for electromagnetic radiation and radio waves in the scale of frequencies from 3 to 300 Hz and corresponding wavelengths. ELF waves can also penetrate significant distances into earth or rock, going into the deep subterranean structures. The frequency of alternating current flowing in electric power grids, 50 or 60 Hz, also falls within the extremely low frequency band, making power grids another source of ELF radiation. ELFs can be easily sent out through a variety of technologies and are used as a method of electronic harassment towards many human beings. Electronic harassment is the use of electromagnetic waves to harass, terrorize, or mind control a victim. One form of electronic harassment is consciousness sweeps. These are on and off planet. Negative alien psychotronic warfare technology transmitted through extremely low frequency, GWEN, and radio waves. These electromagnetic signals are directed into the planetary body and Earth surface in order to influence the unconscious mind and control the neurological system and brain of the collective race mind of humanity. Mind slide programming is when a human being completely ignores unapproved words, terms, or issues that involve their own enslavement or uncovering truth in the reality, even if they come face to face with it. Mind slides are a form of mind control and consciousness sweeping, designed to erase memories that can be implemented through low-frequency radio waves. These directed transmissions form frequency bands that transmit into the person's unconscious mind through their bioenergetic field, generally making them suggestible to certain destructive thought forms like suicide, pedophilia, sex and drug addiction, killing people, etc. ELF combined with mind control is without a doubt the most dangerous and deadly weapon of psychological warfare designed to control and enslave people across the globe. Extremely low frequency signals are used as a high technology weapon, which mimics natural brainwaves. ELF is not only used to brainwash and take over people's minds, it is used to physically attack them as well. Implants and mind control technology are real. The technology exists and the hardware has been in place for many years. All hidden technological warfare used against humanity sources back to the negative alien agenda and their archontic deception strategy, no matter who is carrying out the covert agenda or top secret orders. The human body is a crystal oscillator and frequency resonator, which unconsciously picks up and absorbs many different ELFs and radio waves, depending on what station of frequency and consciousness that person is tuned into. Thus, we need to understand the spectrum of frequency in the electromagnetic wave spectrum and be aware of ELFs and radio frequency impacts in order to help protect ourselves from electronic harassment by understanding what is being transmitted into the environment. When we learn how to clear negative ego and identify spiritually abusive behaviors, we can reprogram the negative ego to spiritually healthy thoughts. And this helps us to uncover the contents of our unconscious mind. Remember that the most common forms of mind control are aimed at the unconscious mind. Learn to communicate with your unconscious mind, clear negative ego, raise your frequency, and then you will learn how to become immune to mind control transmissions. The most important point about psychological warfare and mind control weapons is it is only effective on those who are unaware it is being done to them. Once someone knows that they are being targeted with mind control technology, the effectiveness is forever lost. Geoengineering radio frequencies. Geoengineering is a scientifically used term for artificial modification of Earth's climate systems. One chemical process of geoengineering is spraying chemtrails and other toxic substances into the skies. Additionally, such heavy spraying is used in conjunction with radio frequency transmissions. Powerful radio frequency transmissions have a profound effect on clouds that are converting sprayed chemicals into smaller particulates light enough to be carried on the airstream. Unmarked or military aircraft are spraying toxic chemicals and electrically conductive heavy metals directly over major cities, power vortices, and over our heads in the sky. During and after chemtrailing, strange cloud configurations commonly occur from the chemicals and radio frequencies that have been bombarding the atmosphere. The ongoing radio frequency saturation in our atmosphere is extremely harmful to living organisms, including all humans. Some chemtrails also seem to have magnetic particle attractors that resonate to certain programmable targets to adhere to those same frequencies implanted in the human public when they are sprayed over certain demographics. The particle attractors that may be sprayed in chemtrails have been observed to trigger bioetheric implants. We call them alien implants, even though some of these implants may have been sourced from human covert military operations. Geoengineering and its direct relationship to bioengineering will not be discussed and disseminated appropriately to the scientific community or public until the Earth has a full disclosure event. A full disclosure event means revealing the entire involvement of the shadow military complex, off-world human civilizations, multinational corporations feeding secret space programs and hiding advanced technologies, as well as the history of archontic extraterrestrial control exerted upon earthly and human affairs. When the radio frequencies and heavy metals are exposed to the human body, they disrupt the electromagnetic signals, disturbing energetic balance and the homeostatic rhythms of the body. This puts the body in a hyperimmunity state, or adrenal exhaustion, while fighting off the foreign invader. The body develops coping mechanisms to deal with the foreign invader, while extreme stress is placed on the central nervous system, brain, and immune system. The heavy metals being bombarded in the atmosphere help to prepare the Earth terrain for running the artificial intelligence or AI signal, which is highly conductive with heavy metals and metal toxicity. AI signal. Currently on the Earth, without common knowledge of the negative alien agenda that uses many forms of artificial intelligence to mind control and implant the public, there is much controversy when discussing the positive and negative results of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence technology abuse is a growing threat to the planet, as well as a threat to human freedom and sovereignty. By running an AI signal mimicking extremely low frequencies, artificial intelligence parasites can invade the central nervous system to monitor a person's thought patterns so that they can mimic them. They monitor thought patterns and emotional behaviors and search for weaknesses within the human host body, so they can aggressively use that weakness against the person to plummet them into very low frequency thoughts of the predator mind. When a person has weak spiritual energetic development, weak moral character, along with a weak mind, this makes it much easier for the person to be vulnerable to the AI signal. The AI signal prepares the body to host Metatronic reversals and the AI parasite technology, which is to control the human being and prepare the body for dark force control or imposter spirit possession. The AI parasite is also referred to as a suppressor parasite entity or SPE. The AI signal is now beginning to be continually run in all controller pillars of society. So a person who works in or has a profession in huge corporate, academic, medical, or government conglomerates will be excessively exposed to AI signal transmission. Effectively, this is integrating AI technology and bioengineering to damage human DNA signals. as preparation for complete mind control and body snatching. The fundamental basis of the transhumanism agenda is to take possession by downloading AI into the human brain and neurology. The negative aliens and satanic forces, in their quest to survive and achieve immortality, are attempting to hijack human consciousness and ultimately take possession of the human host body. With the current amplification of polarities during the bifurcation cycle, people controlled by AI signals are made obvious to those who are not running AI signals. A spiritually embodied person on the ascension path will experience out-of-phase or anti-phase destructive energetic sensations when exposed to the person whose body is hosting AI signals. It is possible to clear the AI signal from your nervous system, brain, and body when you become aware of it. However, you must change your consciousness and elevate your frequency in order to keep the AI signal from returning. AI signals can be transmitted either to function as time locks or lower frequency locks. AI signals are designed to lock people's consciousness down into the third dimension mental body and stimulate negative ego frequencies that are stuck in time. Discipline the mind to present moment awareness by staying in no time while shifting focus to the heart and sensory feelings and clearing houses of ego which disarm the control function of the AI. Don't feed it, and it cannot exert control over you. The way to dismantle and deactivate artificial intelligence and nanotechnology alien implants is to develop your heart center and spiritual human qualities, such as increasing deep emotional feelings of loving kindness, compassion, and empathy. Learning how to meditate and perform spiritual cleansing or spiritual housekeeping for your light body is of critical importance to clear AI. The law of one comprises the necessary principles of behavior, practices, and belief systems that humanity is required to learn in order to achieve spiritual freedom and sovereignty. This transpires through committing to spiritual re-education in order to expand consciousness into higher frequency realities that allow progress into the future GSF or God Sovereign Free timelines during the ascension cycle. Water and salt in the human body. The physical composition of the human body can be looked at from the perspective of mass composition or atomic composition. Thus, water makes up 55% to 78% of the human body, with the brain being composed of over 80% water. The average adult human body is approximately 55% water in mass, but including the hydrogen in water rises up in much higher percentage by the count of atoms. Almost 99% of the mass of the human body is made up 6 elements: oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus. Because of the water content, the human body contains more oxygen by mass than any other element, but more hydrogen by atomic ratio. Water covers approximately 70% of the Earth's surface and appears in nature in all 3 common states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas, taking many different forms on Earth. Water is transparent in the visible electromagnetic spectrum. Water is an example of a polar molecule since it has a slight positive charge on one side and a slight negative charge on the other. The dipoles do not cancel each other out, which results in a net dipole. Water is often referred to as the universal solvent. Substances that dissolve in water, such as all of the components in cells, proteins, DNA, and polysaccharides, are dissolved in water, deriving their structure and activity from their interactions with the water. Pure water has a low electrical conductivity, but this increases with the dissolution of small amount of ionic material, creating electrolytes, which are highly conductive. The human body is electrically conductive via the majority percentages of water and tissue salts, which play a critical role in the ability of the body to absorb and accrete higher frequencies during the spiritual ascension process. We could compare the human body to being an electrocatalyst that generates a process of biological ionization that is very similar to the electrolysis of water. Electrolysis of water is the decomposition of water into oxygen and hydrogen gas due to an electrical current being passed through the water. This technique can be easily used to make breathable oxygen as well as hydrogen gas. Electrolysis of water is how breathable oxygen is created in space stations. Ionic compounds exist as crystals rather than molecules and are dissolved in the fluids of the human body, creating cell salts. The ionic bonds help to create cell salts, which give strength to the tissues of the human body, increasing cellular integrity. Each ion has its own properties and rules, which perform specific body movements, which are a result of the function of these ions or cell salts. Ionic compounds that break down when dissolved in water are called electrolytes. Electrolytes are strongly conductive and have important functions in the body. They provide water management functions in the body, hydration, produce nerve impulses essential for muscle function, transport nutrients to the cell, maintain blood pH levels, support mental functioning through strengthening the neural net, convert calories into usable energy more efficiently, build the foundation for enzyme activity in the body, catalyze the process of biological ionization, which is ascension, and to help control the flow of current in and out of cells. It is clear that imbalances of any of these ions or cellular salts in the body, as well as dehydration, inhibit transport across the cell membranes and can lead to dysfunction in the conduction of electrical messages. This dysfunction quickly leads to a general body disturbance and loss of ability to maintain homeostasis. Therefore, staying well hydrated with as much pure water as possible and potentially supplementing with biochemic cell salts and electrolytes may be very helpful for an ascending human. Biochemic cell salts. This ancient knowledge was studied and understood by many of the ancient mystery schools in Alexandria, Egypt, and Greece, as well as the importance of mineral cell salts in the process of spiritual initiation into hierogamic union. The hierogamos is the full resurrection of the body to the eternal light of Christos Sophia, the cosmic Christ consciousness. The process of spiritual ascension allows higher frequencies to be embodied through the nourishing of the cells with the mineralized energy forms that are required for transmutation in the cell. Tissue salts consist of the natural elements occurring in the body itself. They are identical substances. They form the basic constituents of the cells, tissues, and organs, and the body uses their energies for metabolic functions and for supporting ionization. When tissue salts are required for these functions, there should be an adequate supply available in the body, as well as fluids, water to draw upon. If there is an insufficiency of water or ionic substances to produce balanced electrolytes, the cells convert their material structure to provide the energy, and the cell goes into a depleted state. Should this cycle continue, namely of material substance converting to provide energy without nutritional replacement, the cells lose their ability to function correctly. Biochemic tissue salts are also called cell salts. They are minerals in an energy form. The first signs of tissue salt deficiencies are visible in the face, much before physical symptoms occur. By reading the face signs and supplementing with the appropriate tissue salts, one can achieve a balanced correction at the cellular level, which enables the body to heal itself and be better able to produce more conductivity. People undergoing awakening have reported that the common base supplement of 12 mineral cell salts helps to assist with many variations of ascension symptoms that many are undergoing at this time. As we begin to understand how our body is composed of mostly water and salt, it makes sense the ascending body will have an increased need to remain hydrated with pure water and mineralized to help support the electrocatalytic functioning in the cells. During the ascension cycle, we must awaken our cells to transmute from lower density animal elemental cells to higher functioning divine human cells through the process of light, frequency, and plasma accretion. Please only take what is useful for your spiritual growth and discard all the rest. Thank you for your courage and bravery to be a truth seeker. Until next, stay in the luminosity of your avatar Christos Sophia heart path. Please be kind to yourself and each other.